This is Level Up Life After 40 with Chey P.
and Amy E., helping women over 40 to grow, reinvent, and stop settling for just getting by.
Because your best chapter might just be ahead.
Thanks for tuning into another fantastic episode of Level Up Life After 40 with Chey P. and Amy E. And we know as women entering perimenopause or menopause, our hormones are naturally going to shift. And those changes can affect everything from our energy, our mood, how we sleep, our metabolism, and unfortunately, even how our bodies store fat. Today, we are going to take a dive into the foods that we're eating and how they could be working for or against your hormones. We're going to talk about the hidden sources of sugar, ultra-processed foods, and everyday ingredients that we know and love, and how those foods are secretly contributing to inflammation, blood sugar spikes, and hormone fluctuations. We will also share some foods that can help stabilize energy and support healthy metabolism and a better hormone balance inside your body. Because today's topic is not about this horribly restrictive diet, eliminating all the wonderful foods we love. We're really just going to talk about the foods you eat and how they play a role in your hormones so that you can make better choices. So, Cheyenne, when you think about menopause, what's the first hormone that comes to mind typically?
I would say probably estrogen, progesterone, the lady hormones,
Yes,
if
the
you
lady
will.
hormones. When you hit perimenopause, those estrogen hormones start to fluctuate. And then once you hit the real deal, which is where I'm at right now, they decline significantly. And the decline of the estrogen is what gives us those wonderful things we love, like the night sweats, the hot flashes, mood swings.
Uh-huh.
So, Shai, you kind of did a little bit more research into what estrogen actually does, what it is. You want to take maybe a little bit of a deeper dive into that particular hormone?
Yes. So estrogen supports bones, supports brain function. So we talk about when you have brain fog. Sometimes as you get older, I'm like, where did I put my keys? Influences mood, which you mentioned. Supports skin elasticity, which is the one I want, helps regulate cholesterol and helps control inflammation like you talked about. And we've decided to divide this into 2 episodes because we will talk about gut health and inflammation in another episode. So just keep that in the back of your mind because we will talk about that, but we just for time's sake split it up into 2. So it really does a lot of things. Affects pretty much every bit of your body. And if you have one system that's being affected, a lot of times the other systems are going to be affected as well. So estrogen does a good bit of stuff, but the fluctuations can give you the hot flashes, the mood changes, sleep disruption, which I don't think I think people believe that, excuse me, their sleep gets disrupted because of the hot flashes, which can be true. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have woken up previously in the middle of the night because I'm just cooking. I'm cooking. And then you kick off all the covers, then you're freezing, and then you just go through the cycle. But it can actually just disrupt your sleep, period. Weight gain and joint discomfort. I was reading today, as a matter of fact, that when people say that they're waking up with their body hurting all of a sudden, that it's true. Like you really do just all of a sudden get some kind of joint pain
Mm-hmm.
because of decreased estrogen levels. So, as far as food, it's probably more where we could eat foods that help us along a little better. Flaxseed is a big one, and I'm going to give you just a little tip about flaxseed. You can go and buy flaxseed, but you better buy a coffee grinder or something as well, because if you just eat flaxseed, you're not getting any of the nutrition of them. You need to grind them up first. So you can get ground flaxseed, but put it in the freezer. It'll last you longer. There's your tip, but flaxseed is very good for you. Edamame, which is a soybean, great little snack that you can get. And I know we'll talk about this too, but soy can be a little controversial. But if you add some edamame to your diet, edamame can help you because it does help support estrogen levels. Tempeh and tofu, those are obviously both soy products. So if you want to use that as a meat substitute, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, and your fatty fish, which, who doesn't love a good piece of salmon? But the interesting thing is that cruciferous vegetables, and yes, I am reading help the body process and eliminate estrogen more effectively. And that is your broccoli and your cauliflower and like the Brussels sprouts and kale, which is great because I love those. But I never knew that they did that.
It's like a superfood. All right, Chai, thanks for bringing up some of those good foods, but now let's go on to some of the dirty ones, which I happen to do the fun research on. Processed sugar is probably the worst thing that you can do for estrogen levels. Hot flashes,
Mm,
energy crashes, you get that surge of high and then you hit that crashing low, poor
mm,
sleep, mood swings. But the crazy part is there is a lot of hidden sugars in many of the foods that we know and love. So, the American Heart Association recommends that women should limit added sugar to no more than 25 grams per day.
Do you know what
That's
that is in tablespoons?
it's 6 teaspoons a day.
So that's 2 tablespoons.
Or okay, so thank you, Shy, for that quick math. So,
Okay. Yeah.
it's 6 teaspoons a day or 2 tablespoons a day. Your average 12-ounce regular soda, and this one's for you, Shy, 39 grams.
Wow.
You're already 1.5 times more with just one soda.
Hmm.
But here's
And
some of
that doesn't count the fact that I often will get a 20 ouncer. And it's
yes,
and the sad thing is because I'm healthy, I've switched over to Mexican Cokes. So it's actually sugar now, not high fructose corn syrup, which is a totally different topic, but go on now that you've started shaming me. What's next?
sure. Oh, okay. Our flavored yogurts. Everybody
Mm,
says how great yogurts are, and yes, they are great for gut health, but unfortunately, they pull in 15 to 20 grams of added sugar. So if you're having two of those little ones a day, or maybe you're just having one, and then you're having the granola bar with it, right?
mm,
You're already well over your 25 grams because that said granola bar is usually anywhere from 8 to 15.
mhm.
So just
That
those two healthy breakfast things first thing in the morning has already put you over the edge for the amount of sugar that you should have in a day.
that is true, and how often do you go and I'm gonna speak to this because I just had one. Someone brought us breakfast the other day, Chick-fil-A yogurt parfait. Now I'm, again, healthy, so I didn't have the granola portion of it, but that yogurt is too darn good to not be full of sugar. I mean, I know it is. I don't even wanna know how much.
A little later on in my presentation here, I will tell you because it does have the number of grams of sugar in that.
Alright.
Your sweetened coffee drinks. That caramel macchiato from Starbucks will put you anywhere from 20 to 50 grams. Yes, right out of the gate. So before 9 a.m., you've probably already consumed twice as much sugar than you normally should have.
That's crazy.
Some of the ones that kind of sneak up on you, barbecue sauce.
Mhm.
Barbecue sauce pulls in 12 to 16 grams for 2 tablespoons.
Yeah. It makes sense. Because when
Mm,
I make my homemade barbecue sauce, it is ketchup and brown sugar. Like those are my main ingredients. I make a very sweet sauce. But I am curious since we're talking about this, because down south they do often mustard based. So I'm wondering how bad those are and vinegar based sauces. They're
Not as
probably all
bad.
bad.
No, no, actually, they say if you're gonna if you need a condiment, mustard is way better than ketchup and barbecue sauce.
I'm I'm gonna look up like mustard barbecue sauce recipes now just out of curiosity, and I might put that in the show notes. I'm making a note seriously because I literally just thought of that. All right,
Nice.
mustard
Good
based
call.
sauces.
Some
Hey,
other sneaky ones. Salad dressings, your French, your Catalina, your raspberry vinaigrette, 2 tablespoons, 14 grams of sugar.
that's crazy.
And that's not a lot of dressing on a salad. If you're ordering that salad in a restaurant, chances are they're probably doubling the amount of tablespoons of dressing that they're putting on it. I've already mentioned our favorite yogurt, instant flavored oatmeal, pulling in 15 grams. Protein bars, 10 to 20 grams.
Wow.
They have to taste good if we're going to eat them, right? those hidden little chocolate chips that they throw in there, not helping our cause. I'm not going to read all of them, but some of the ones that really surprised me: baked beans, a half a cup, which isn't a lot. I don't know about you, but I can eat way more than a half a cup of baked beans. That's pulling in 15 grams of sugar. Dried cranberries, 30 grams of sugar. And obviously, our favorite flavored coffee creamer, that French vanilla, 12 grams
Huh.
in just 2 tablespoons. So that's like, what, two of those little packs, which
Mhm.
clearly isn't enough creamer to make your coffee taste like anything good.
It's true.
Oh, also beware of some of those sports drinks, your Gatorades, your vitamin waters. Now, controversy there is that you're probably drinking those if you're exerting yourself, so your body might need to replace some of those sugars and electrolytes depending on how you're exerting yourself. But if you're just drinking the flavored vitamin water, 20-ounce bottle, 32 grams.
Wow.
Your fruit and yogurt parfait, Cheyenne, by the way, was 35 grams of sugar.
Dang. Alright.
Enough about that. We'll have some more details later. But just to kind of beware that some of the foods that we consume every day that we know and love as just these little extras here and there, they very quickly can add up, putting you over the edge. And then we wonder why we feel like crap as we're
Mhm.
going through menopause.
Yeah. And I wanna just throw out there, the best thing you can do to combat some of that is just cook for yourself and make your own foods and just be aware of what you're putting in your body. And I'll just go ahead and say it I do if I eat yogurt from the store, I get, full fat plain Greek. I will mix it with something like some type of sweetened fruit, but I'm aware of how much sweetness has gone into the fruit. So I'm not just eating it blindly and I can control it and measure it better. And I make my own salad dressing because I can control it and measure it better. And sometimes because I love blue cheese dressing, I will get it upon occasion. But a good substitute for that is just put blue cheese crumbles in your salad. They're already blue, you don't have to worry about them going bad in your refrigerator. No, seriously though. But if you want that taste, just add that taste to your salad and then put on your healthy oil and vinegar. But that's very eye-opening. I'm quickly doing some math in my head from yesterday and this morning from the yogurt that I pilfered from the office.
Well, and I love that you brought that up because one of the things that they suggested instead of those flavored yogurts is exactly what you do, the plain Greek yogurt, and then just add some fresh fruit to it. It'll give that
Yes.
little bit enough of sweetness without
Mhm.
adding all those artificial sugars. Instead of that sweet coffee creamer, just use half and half or regular milk with cinnamon, which
Oh,
actually, if you've never tried it, it's pretty darn good.
hmm.
Starbucks was onto something when they had that little thing at the coffee bar. Try it. Instead of this sugary French vanilla, sprinkle a little cinnamon in there.
Hmm. That's good. And you can always add your own vanilla to things as well. I go to lunch with a friend and she carries I'm gonna call it bastardized, but the non-bastardized version of stevia with her. So it still has that little bit of bitter, but she'll order an unsweet tea and she just puts a little sprinkle, just add a little sweetness to it. So she's not using all the artificial sugar, she's not putting regular sugar. And I know we're talking about processed sugars here specifically.
Mhm.
I think I personally believe fruit sugar is okay, but instead of like you mentioned the dried cranberries, I think instead of dry fruit, try to eat the fresh fruit because otherwise you get the sugars are concentrated. And while they can have some benefit, I don't think anyone is just going to sit down and eat like 3 dried apricot pieces. But if you ate an actual piece of fresh fruit, you're probably going to stop at 1 piece of fresh fruit. You still can't go crazy, but as far as processed sugars, that is very eye-opening.
And it
And
does talk about, yes, it does talk about the fact that yes, fruit has natural sugars in it, but your body processes it differently than it does the processed sugars. God, say that 3 times fast, Amy.
Yes, and I believe it's because of all the fiber that you get with the fruit. So you're getting all the water, you're getting the fiber, all the other nutrients in there too. We're gonna go to progesterone next since they go hand in hand with estrogen. So progesterone helps promote calmness, which kind of goes in with those mood swings with your estrogen.
Hmm.
It supports sleep. It helps balance estrogen. So when we have declines, which it says here in my notes that it will often decline before estrogen. You can have some anxiety, irritability, poor sleep, and feeling wired but tired. And how often do we feel that way? And then sometimes we'll have those sugary drinks, like Amy mentioned, and it makes it even worse. Things that can help with progesterone are some eggs, pumpkin seeds, nuts, beans, and magnesium rich foods. And I think the eggs, it's the yolk, by the way. So eat your yolks.
I like that, but obviously in moderation because they have a certain amount of cholesterol that we need to be aware of. In fact, I'm going to throw this out there, and I haven't done the research on it, but somebody told me if you had to be given a choice of eating a fried egg or a scrambled egg, which is better for you, you go with the fried egg. Because for some reason, she was telling me that when you break the yolk and it mixes in with the whites, then that's where the healthy egg turns into the not so healthy egg.
Hmm.
That's somehow that combination is what gets that cholesterol level up there. Now I'm really curious.
Interesting.
If the yolk remains intact, it's okay.
That was all I had for progesterone, but those just progesterone and estrogen can kinda go hand in hand, and just I wanna throw this out so we don't forget at the end, but we're not giving you, like, a magic bullet, we're not giving you the magic pill, there's no magic food you can eat, it's a combination of healthy eating and healthy foods. It's not just one thing that you're gonna do that's gonna automatically make your estrogen and progesterone levels be, "Ah."
Or for that matter, any of your hormones.
Yep. Alright,
So
but you go ahead with cortisol, Amy.
cortisol, as we all know, is that stress hormone, which is actually essential. It's essential hormone in our body because it helps us with that fight or flight response. It helps you stay alert when you're walking through that dark alley
Mhm.
at night. So cortisol is a good thing, but in chronically high levels, that's when it turns into a not so good a thing.
Mhm.
And high cortisol levels contribute to your sleep problems, your weight gain, increased inflammation, and we will go into detail in inflammation in part 2 uh, of the episode, and then the energy crashes.
Cortisol, like you said, it serves a purpose, but because we have, like, the hustle culture and the "I'm so stressed" culture and everything on our plate culture, that is when people wind up with these perpetual cortisol levels, and your body is just always on alert. So, I'll go over some foods that can help
Please.
with cortisol.
Hmm.
Berries, walnuts are great for your heart too, by the way. Salmon, leafy greens, beans. This one really hit me where I live. I did not like this at all. But the drinks that may increase cortisol, excess caffeine, hello. Energy drinks, hello again. Oh, Amy, excess alcohol, which I can say goodbye to that one. I don't really drink.
Don't worry, I do enough for the two of us, so I got that one covered.
Yeah, and then it has, an analogy that it says cortisol is a firefighter, which it is because it's gonna,
Mhm.
help you, like, get through that problem, but it's just when your alarm never stops ringing that your body's just gonna keep pumping it out, and I know we're talking about foods, but we have done other episodes, and I know we did it in keto, but just about things to, like, help relax and decrease your stress.
Mhm.
In fact, we specifically did an episode about having unnecessary stress in your life and how to get rid of it. That would be the first step I would take.
Right, because these high levels of cortisol, after a while, we wonder why we start gaining that abdominal weight, that
Mhm.
muffin. A lot of that muffin has to do with the cortisol and the stress that we're carrying.
It 100% does. Yes.
If you're also experiencing some fatigue, difficulty sleeping, or mood changes, you probably have higher levels of cortisol than you should have.
Yeah, and if you are doing the caffeine and the energy drinks and things that I am very fond of currently, that can roll you over into upsetting your estrogen and progesterone with your sleeplessness. So if you're having trouble sleeping, and especially the time of day that you might be doing them, you're just compounding all of your problems.
Mhm. All right. So let's talk about one more favorite hormone, and that's insulin. Shine, what did you learn about insulin?
Well, insulin is a big one. Insulin controls your blood sugar and it can influence your energy, your hunger, your cravings, and your fat storage, which again, we're talking about that abdominal fat. Um, and the things that can cause issues are artificial sweeteners. So if you are someone that is drinking Diet Cokes regularly, the way I drink regular Cokes regularly, that can affect your insulin levels pretty much just as much as my Coca-Cola because your body knows that there's some kind of sugar, but the difference is that when my body releases insulin to deal with the sugar I've consumed, it actually has something to work with. The artificial sweeteners, they create the sense that your body knows something sweet is going on, but it doesn't know what to do with it. So that's why artificial sweeteners can be bad. Your candies, refined carbohydrates, which and that's not just sugar, that's chips, that's bread, that's some of
White
your
bread. Mhm.
pastas. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then ultra processed foods. If it's relatively easy to grab, odds are it's an ultra processed food, unless it's an apple, of course. But yeah, if it's some kind of packaged something, it's an ultra processed food. And the foods that will help are your beans, your lentils, oats, even they have in here vegetables, whole grains. And you can eat these foods that have carbohydrates. They're going to satisfy you and keep you satisfied longer. It's not going to cause the spikes and the drops.
'Cause what happens with those spikes in those drops is that you get that what they call insulin resistance. So when
Mhm.
you keep having this diet full of sugary your pancreas releases insulin to move the glucose, which is that sugar, from your bloodstream into your cells. When you keep adding all of these processed sugars to your diet, your body becomes less sensitive to the sugars, and your pancreas doesn't know to produce insulin because it's almost like it's, oh, well, there's always sugar here. It's not just a one time thing. It's not when she has one Diet Coke or one Pepsi. There's always a consistent amount of high levels of sugar. So I'm just not going to produce any insulin anymore because I don't think I need to.
Mhm.
And so you're almost tricking your own body into stopping the production of it, which is what's called the insulin resistance. And that's what leads to your pre-diabetic or your type 2 diabetic, which
Mhm.
also increased heart disease.
That is so important. And if people are wondering, well, how do I stop this? Cold turkey, unfortunately, is probably the best thing because your body needs to reset. And if you'll notice that all of the things that I suggested are fresh, whole foods and not processed foods. And I know it seems like it can be difficult in this day and age, but you can, like Amy said, you can order a salad out, sneak in your own salad dressing, or ask for oil and vinegar if you go out. Get the plain chicken versus a fried chicken. At Chick-fil-A, you can get a cup of fruit versus fries. I'm not saying that's what I do. I'm just saying that you can. No, this has really been eye-opening. In fact, even your example of like the insulin resistance, I'm just like, man, some of the stuff people might know, but maybe you're just getting another little bit of a wake up call. But I would start trying to switch over to as many whole food type things as you can just to help these hormones out and just to see if you feel better. Other thing I would like to mention is that when I have had certain drinks with the artificial sweeteners in them, I am so stinking cranky. Like, ridiculous. I should not be getting this angry and upset about this. And I definitely noticed it was the correlation with the artificial sweetener. So before somebody says, "Oh, maybe it's coincidence," no, I could definitely tell because it's when it was regularly in my diet. and I'll cut them off for a while, and then if I go back and I'm kind of drinking them again every day, it's like, "Yep, this really is the problem." So if you find that you've got a short fuse, quick snap temper, try to get rid of those artificial sweeteners. They're not your friend.
And the artificial energy drinks, your
Well,
Monsters, your Red Bulls, that
yeah,
thing that we reach for when it's 2 o'clock. We've got to get through another 2 to 3 hours of our workday. We want something a little bit sweeter.
and it has other things in there too that not only kinda perk you up, but I'm pretty sure they're making your synapses fire differently. So it is a process, and it's not an easy process, and giving up sugar, I promise day 3 is the worst. You will be so miserable, you'll have cravings, you're gonna be angry. People are gonna be like, "What are you doing?" You're gonna be like, "It's day 3 of sugar," and you're like, "Okay, get it." But if you can do a fast, and I have done fast from processed sugar, but if I were to give up, like, my Coca-Colas and artificial sweeteners, I will increase probably my fruit intake and potatoes and things, so I'm still getting the carbs because that will lessen my need to kill people.
And to stay on said diet.
Ye Now, if you wanna really just go bananas and just eliminate them like, altogether, more power to you. I've done that. It is very hard, but I can usually manage to get through the detox basically of the artificial sweeteners and the sugar if I will eat at least some more of those natural God-given sugars,
Like
if you
fruits
will.
and stuff like that. So just curious, day 3 is the worst. After day 3, does it get better?
Yes, you start to level out. You'll still have a little bit of trouble. Like day 1, you're just like, whatevs. Day 2, it's kind of like, but day 3, for whatever reason, day 3 is just brutal. It is brutal. And I think it's just because your body's like really exiting out, your cells are screaming for it. I mean, it is bad. You wouldn't think that it would be this bad, but it's almost like you're just like, please, Lord, let me have a Coca-Cola.
I'm glad though that you brought that up because it goes to a point that I'm about to make that when you start adding good foods in your diet, believe it or not, your body starts to crave the good stuff too. So it's not just this, oh, I'm eliminating all the things I love and I'm replacing it with fruits or vegetables or whole grains, tasteless. Your body has a wonderful way of tricking us into, as you start eating those good foods, your body will start to crave those good foods as well. So when I was making a very strict point of having at least 50% of my plate be fruits and vegetables, I wanted a more it wasn't a problem to literally divide my plate into that 50% and eat the fruits and vegetables because it was like oh, well, I like this. Like I'll add more broccoli instead of adding more mashed potatoes or the meat.
And you're right. When you start eating like real food, processed food just really gets kind of disgusting. And it's interesting because I've gone through where I haven't enjoyed things. I got to the point where Coca-Cola almost tasted like dirt. I have no idea what prompted me to start drinking it again or what happened. It was probably I was in a situation and I had Coke because it was there. And then I liked the way my brain felt. And so it really is a vicious cycle. And I think that's why if you decide to give up the sugars and or caffeine, it needs to be cold turkey. I bought licorice the other day. Brett's been eating black licorice, which is actually licorice is good for you. Black licorice with the sugar, not so great. But and so I picked up some red licorice for myself and I ate it and I'm like, this isn't quite as delicious as I remember. And you'll start to notice that certain processed foods or things that you thought were so good before, you're just gonna be like, "Why did I like this?"
And then you're going to start thinking, why did I just put those calories in my body when they really weren't that good?
Mm, even Chick-fil-A, as much as I love Chick-fil-A, I have gone through the drive-through, and when I'm done, I'm like and it tastes good, but I don't feel satisfied. I'm like, "That just wasn't even worth it."
I will wrap up today's episodes. We brought up estrogen, we brought up cortisol, we
Progesterone.
brought up progesterone, and then we also talked a little bit about insulin. Next episode, we're going to wrap up how they work together. with gut health. We're going to mention some more foods that are
Good.
good for your hormones. We're going to throw in some more that are part of the not so good for the hormones. And just remember, you got this. Just a quick reminder, everything we share on this podcast is for inspirational, personal growth, and real-life conversation. We're not doctors, therapists, financial advisors, or legal experts. Just two women sharing experiences, lessons, and stories to help you level up your life. Always do what's best for you and seek out qualified professionals when you need specific guidance. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and remember, you got this.